Have you ever heard that the simple act of observing something can change this something? It may seem mysticism, but this is anchored in physics, more precisely in quantum mechanics. One of the most disturbing experiments in the history of science shows exactly this, the double-slit experiment. At the beginning of the 19th century, Thomas Young conducted an experiment that revealed that light behaves like a wave. But later physicists discovered that light can also act as a particle. This in itself is a paradox. But what really made the world shudder was what happened when this experiment was conducted with electrons, tiny particles of matter. In the experiment, a cannon fires electrons toward a barrier with two slits. Behind this barrier, a screen records where the electrons land. When no one is watching, the electrons behave like waves, forming interference patterns on the screen. But when installing sensors in the cracks to observe which way the electron passed, something strange happens. Wave patterns disappear. The electrons start to act like particles, as if they knew that they were being watched. How is it possible that the behavior of a particle changes just because it is being observed? This challenges everything we know about reality. Imagine playing dice, and they only decide which number to show after you look. That's the essence of quantum mystery. When it is not observed, the electron exists in a state of probabilities, known as wave function. It can be everywhere at the same time, but as soon as we observe, this wave function collapses. The electron chooses a specific place to appear. This collapse is one of the greatest puzzles in physics. What causes it? Is it the observation itself? Is it the consciousness of the observer? If reality is only fixed when it is measured, what is real, in fact? These questions have shaken the way science understands the universe. The double-slit experiment has become a mirror of the greater mystery. Reality is only revealed when someone observes it. But who is this someone, and what does that say about us? If the presence of an observer alters the outcome of a physical experiment, what does it mean for our role in the universe? Classical physics said that we live in an objective world where things exist regardless of whether we are looking or not. But the double-slit experiment suggests otherwise, that reality itself can be malleable and shaped by attention. Imagine that everything around you is in a fluid state, like a mass of possibilities. Only when you focus your attention does it solidify. This reminds something that the ancients already said, where your focus goes, there is creation. Perhaps the universe is more like a mental hologram than a mechanical clock, and the observer, you, may be participating in the construction of reality much more than you imagine. It changes everything, because if you watch the world, then what you see every day is a direct reflection of your own mind. Neuroscience and quantum physics begin to meet at this mysterious point. The focus. What you observe, you energize. What you ignore tends to disappear from your field of reality. In the experiment, when the electron is observed, it behaves as if it had been seen and reacts. This connects directly with the way our brain filters information. The reticular activation system, a part of the brain, decides what you will perceive based on what you consider important. Have you ever bought a car and suddenly you see it everywhere? This is your brain confirming what you observed, but what if this is just the surface of a larger phenomenon? What if, as in the double-slit experiment, the simple act of observing makes certain possibilities become real and others disappear? Perhaps the universe is responding to your focus, not just recording, but literally creating reality around you. Every time you choose to look at something, an idea, an emotion, a possibility, you are, in essence, causing it to collapse from possibility into reality. In the quantum world, everything exists in a potential state until an observation occurs. In your life, it is so too. There are infinite possible paths, but you only experience the one to which you look with true intention. This means that your thoughts, if you observe, changes the behavior of matter. What about the reality that we all live together? Would we all be participating in a collective construction? Human consciousness can function as a shared field of observation. This would explain why consensus exists, and also why it is so difficult to break out of collective patterns, such as poverty, fear, or limitation. The more people believe in something, the more this thing materializes as reality. The double-slit experiment leads us to question, is there an objective world out there, or is everything a reflection of the multiple consciences that observe it? What if we live in a responsive universe, where every thought is like a silent observer shaping the fabric of the real? The reality we see may be only the intersection between the infinite observations that occur at all times. You are not just in a universe. You are part of the mechanism that is creating it. Feelings and decisions have a much greater power than we imagine. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to live a parallel reality, where everything works out for them? Perhaps they are just attuned to different possibilities, and by watching them with faith and focus, they have made themselves manifest. You are not just living in an external world, you are shaping that world with every choice of attention. At the heart of this quantum experience is a fascinating duality. We are observers, and at the same time, we are part of what is being observed. Just as the electrons know when they are being watched, are we also constantly being influenced by some larger observer? A cosmic consciousness, the unified field, the divine. The idea that we are co-creators of reality is not new. Ancestral spiritual traditions already said that the external world is a reflection of the internal world. The double-slit experiment does not prove this spiritual wisdom, but it certainly points to it. Perhaps physics is just beginning to touch the veil of what mystics have always known, that there is something deep connecting everything, and that this something responds to conscious presence. You are watching, but who or what is watching you? What the double-slit experiment tells us, with all its disturbing implications, is that reality is not a solid structure waiting to be discovered. It is malleable, fluid, plastic, and it seems to be waiting for a decision, for an observation, for a focus. While you do not look, the universe is in a state of pure possibility. Everything is there, but nothing is defined. The electron can pass through either of the slits or both at the same time. So is your life. Multiple possible futures coexist at this time, but none of them are collapsed. None have become real yet. But when you focus, when you choose, when you decide to observe with clarity and intent, the universe reacts. It organizes itself around your decision. The wave function collapses. What was only potential becomes experience. The truth, naked and raw, is that reality is less interested in being discovered and much more interested in being co-created. And you, perhaps without realizing it, are participating in this process all the time. Every thought you feed, every emotion you hold, every belief you reinforce is a silent and powerful observation shaping the reality around you. Therefore, the most important question you can ask is not, what is the meaning of life? But rather, what am I choosing to observe now? Because this simple choice, this subtle decision of focus, may be drawing the path where your life will manifest. If there is something truly revolutionary in the double-slit experiment, it is the revelation that between the invisible world of possibilities and the visible world of events, there is a bridge. And that bridge is you. You are the interface, the link between chaos and form, between indeterminate and manifest. It is through your consciousness, your attention, that reality transits from a multitude of potentials to a single concrete path. But there is a subtle detail here. Not every observation has the same power. There is passive observation, one that only records, and there is intentional observation, the one that carries energy, emotion, and decision. It is this that changes the game. It is when you look with presence, when you observe purposefully, when you feel that you are in alignment with something greater, with the creative source of all that is. In this state, you are not only a witness of the world, you are an active participant, a channel, a collapsing field of infinite realities, and then the universe responds, not as a machine, but as a living, symbolic, and receptive consciousness. The signs appear, opportunities align, the right people arise, not by chance, but because you have observed clearly, and that was enough for the invisible to become real. Now that you know this, that the simple act of observing changes the world, the inevitable question is, what will you do with this power? You can keep looking at the same limitations as always. You can keep focusing on the faults, the fears, the memories of pain. And the universe, like a faithful mirror, will collapse these realities before you, repeating patterns, reinforcing old stories. Or you can change the focus. You can start to look at the possibilities, beauty, healing, potential. You may begin to hold higher views of who you are and the world you wish to live in. Yes, at first it seems subtle, invisible, but that's where the secret lies. The invisible world responds to the silent observer. And when you persist in this new observation, something begins to move, first inside, then outside. You begin to realize that you were never a victim of chance. You have always been a co-creator, and maybe that is the real function of the double-slit experiment, not just confusing scientists, but remind us all that reality is not a sentence, it's a dance. And you, with your gaze, define the next step. So, now it's up to you. You will continue to be an unconscious observer, or will you become the alchemist of the look, he who turns the invisible into visible gold? If this content made you reflect, share with someone who needs to wake up to this truth. And remember, reality is waiting for you to choose. Choose with conscience, choose with courage, choose to observe what you want to live.